share this notice, the Metropolitan Council Chair has determined that it is still not practical or prudent to conduct in-person meetings in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Accordingly, committee members will participate in this meeting via telephone or interactive technology, and the meeting will be conducted under Minnesota Statute Section 13D.021 at the date and time of March 23rd at 2 p.m. today. We encourage you to monitor the meeting remotely. If you have questions, we encourage members of the public to email us at public.info@metc.state.mn.us, and we will respond to your comments in a timely manner. So with that, we'll go over to Lori and we'll do roll call.
Barber.
Here.
Gonzalez.
Here.
Lee. Lilligren.
Here.
Muse.
Here.
Pacheco. And Johnson.
And here. Thanks everybody
Thank
for
you.
being here today. With that, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. We've got two non-consent business items on our agenda today. We can move forward with the agenda unless anyone on the committee thinks that there should be any edits or changes. Is there anything that the committee would change on the agenda? All right, seeing none then, we'll move forward with the agenda. And we'll move on to item 3, approval of the March 9th, 2022 Management Committee meeting minutes. Everybody's gotten those in advance and has had a time to look at them. Are there any changes, edits? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Lilligren moves approval.
Moved by Lilligren. Is there a second?
Second by Barber.
Seconded by Barber. Thank you very much. Any other discussion, questions on the minutes? Seeing none, then roll call. Lori.
Barber.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Lilligren.
Aye.
Muse.
Aye.
Johnson.
And aye, and those pass
Yeah.
unanimously. We'll now move on to the non-consent portion of the business items on our agenda. And the first one up that we have is item 2022-34. It's a joint business item, and it's the carry-forward amendment for the 2022 April budget amendment. And we'll turn this over to Mr. Stewart McMullan, who's our Director of Budget.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Stewart McMullan, Director of Budget and Operations, and I'm bringing forward the 2021 Carry Forward and 2022 April Budget Amendment. With me and available to answer questions are Nick Hendrickson, Matt Selmeyer, and Ed Petrie, financial leaders for community development, environmental services, and Metro Transit, respectively. This amendment makes changes to the operating budget in regional administration, the operating budget in environmental services, and the operating and capital budget in community development, MTS, and Metro Transit. The proposed amendment was reviewed and approved by the Transportation Committee on March 14th, Community Development Committee on March 21st, and the Environmental Services Committee on March 22nd. In regional administration, the amendment will commit $1 million in 2021 year-end general fund reserves for insurance retention. It will also carry forward the unspent portion of the 7 2021 equity initiatives approved by the Council last year. The amendment moves the 8 2022 Thrive initiatives into the budget for a total of $3.2 million, as discussed at the last 2 Management Committee meetings. It adds 6 FTEs to the 2022 RA budget to support the audit, human resources, and diversity efforts of the Council, and $75,000 to the risk budget for cybersecurity insurance expenses. These additional costs are allocated out to the operating divisions, and the increased expense is included in the amendment for each of the divisions. In community development, the amendment carries forward $1.6 million for 2 projects not completed in 2021. It recognizes a transfer of $100,000 in reserves to the Housing and Redevelopment Authority Capital Program for improvements on council-owned properties. And it also incorporates the $2 million for the LHIA pass-through program that is one of the 8 approved 2022 Thrive initiatives. In environmental services, the amendment carries forward $370,000 for 2 technology projects that were not completed in 2021. It also incorporates an additional $450,000 in federal funds that are being passed through the state of Minnesota to support our efforts with the University of Minnesota testing for the prevalence of COVID in our wastewater. In Metro Transit, the amendment incorporates an additional $6.9 million in federal pandemic funds into the light rail budget and a $3.4 million reduction in the local commitment of our county funding partners to reconcile the amounts needed given the final 2020 amounts for fare revenue and expenses. Similarly, the amendment incorporates an additional $2 million in federal pandemic relief funds in commuter rail, with an accompanying reduction of $1.2 million in the contribution of our local funding partners. It also reflects a $20,000 grant from Operation Lifesaver for light rail safety efforts. Lastly, in the operating budget in MTS, the amendment increases the 2021 operating budget to reflect the additional $4.4 million in formulaic MVEST funds above the budget that were passed on to the suburban transit providers. It provides an additional $16.8 million in federal pandemic relief funds in the 2022 budget to the suburban transit providers to reflect their formulaic share of the American Rescue Plan dollars. It also moves $1.3 million in MVEST out of the contracted services operating budget into the MTS capital program and replaces these funds in the operating budget with $1.3 million in federal funds. I'll stop there and answer any questions the committee might have on the operating budget, and then we can get to the capital budget part of the amendment.
Thank you for that part of the report. Are there any questions from committee members?
No.
All right, seeing none, we can move on to the capital portion of the budget.
Moving to the capital budget, the amendment closes or reallocates funding to 16 projects in the Metro Transit ACP and changes the authorization for 22 projects, most notably adding $153.8 million in county funding to the Metro Gold Line project. It also reallocates funding among 28 projects in the MTS ACP and changes the authorization for 10 projects. In community development, the amendment closes 34 projects in the Parks ACP and reallocates funding among 101 Parks projects. These changes are detailed specifically in tables 9 and 11 of the amendment. The motion is that the Metropolitan Council authorizes the 2021 and 2022 unified budget as amended and in accordance with the attached tables. That summary, we'd stand for any questions the committee might have.
Wonderful, thank you for that. Again, back to the committee. Do you have any questions, comments? Appreciate the detailed report. It's a lot of money coming and going, but it's good to see just all of, again, the various places that it's going to, including some of our Thrive initiatives, but it's a big package here, but it's awesome that it's coming through, and thanks for all the detailed information because it's a lot and we appreciate that. So with that, we do have the proposed action that the Metropolitan Council authorize the 2021 carry forward amendment and the 2022 unified budget amendment, budget as amended and in accordance with all of the attached tables in our reports. Is there a motion to approve?
Lilligren moves.
Second by Gonzalez.
Moved by Lilligren, seconded by Gonzalez. Thank you very much. Again, any additional comments, questions? Seeing none then, roll call vote, Lori.
Barber,
Aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Lilligren,
Aye.
Muse,
Aye.
Johnson.
And aye. And again, that passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Stewart, or Mr. McMullan. Sorry about that. We appreciate your report and your time, everybody's time that's been put in on this great work. We'll now move on to the second item under this portion of our business, and this is item 2022-74, HealthPartners Contract 19P020 extension, and we'll turn this over to Ms. Bopp.
All right, am I on? Good afternoon, Madam Chair and council members, committee members. Yes, I am Terri Bopp, Benefits Manager, and I'm here to present the business item 2022-74 regarding our contract with HealthPartners for medical claims administration, prescriptions management, wellness programming, and our Medicare supplement plan administration. The current contract with HealthPartners is expiring at the end of this year. We did select HealthPartners through a competitive RFP process 3 years ago. And when the contract was approved by the council for 3 years, it was approved with the option to extend for 2 additional years. It's advantageous to the council to extend this contract for 2 years, and there are 3 good reasons for doing so. One reason is that HealthPartners is offering the rate cap of 3% for year 4, which is consistent with the cap they'd had in the current contract years 1 through 3. They're offering a 0% increase for year 5. Right now, while we're still dealing with the effects of COVID and the unknown in terms of all of our employees accessing healthcare, it's a good idea to avoid any possible network disruption that may occur if we did do an RFP at this point. And then finally, we are aware that there are some new Medicare supplement plan carriers entering the Minnesota market. That's been new in just the last year or 2. And it would be advantageous for the council to let that market settle and let a 2-year period of exploration as to whether we want to do a separate RFP for Medicare supplement plans solely in the next 2 years. The extension of this contract does support the Thrive lens of stewardship. Funding for the piece of the contract related to medical claims administration, the prescription management and wellness programming is considered when we do premium rate setting on an annual basis in the self-funded medical reserve account. The funding for the Medicare supplement plans is considered in each operating division's budget. So the proposed action is that the council authorize the regional administrator to execute an amendment for the current contract 19P020 with HealthPartners that will extend the contract term for the administrative items mentioned and the amount not to exceed $25 million for a total contract value after 5 years not to exceed $71,617,500. And with that, I am happy to take any follow-up questions there may be.
Thank you, Ms. Bopp, for that presentation. Appreciate it. I think this is a pretty great option to take with the 3% cap and then no increase in year 5. And just like you said, then we get a little extra time to plan for the Medicare plans that might be coming online in 2 years. So good work on this report. We appreciate your hard work. I'll turn it back to the committee. Are there any questions, comments, concerns? All right.
I have, Madam Chair, I have a quick question.
Yes, Councilmember Gonzalez.
Yeah, I was just wondering what would have happened if we don't extend the contract for the 2 years? What I'm getting at is there's a likelihood that the fees that we paid might be higher with this provider or another provider. I mean, what's the status of the market as far as that's concerned?
Thank you, Councilmember Gonzalez. Good question. I'll turn it back to Ms. Bopp.
Yes. Thank you, Council Member, Madam Chair. What would happen if we did not extend is we would immediately with the time constraint that we would have left in the remainder of this year, have to issue another RFP. And the three reasons that I offered in terms of the advantageous nature of extending the contract would go away. So we would be receiving proposals from a myriad of carriers in the metro area that may or may not reach the 0% rate increase that we have from HealthPartners for year 5. It would be an unknown about the rates. And again, it could result in selection of a carrier that would have a whole different network. And the employees would then be potentially faced with literally switching doctors. We would also have to throw our hand out right away in terms of the Medicare supplement plans while there's sort of the unknown opportunity in the market for these other carriers. Let me know if that answers your question.
That's helpful. I was just wondering if the main issue that we are purchasing with this is just the stability, or if lower rate was the main consideration, or combination of both.
Council member, Madam Chair, it's probably a combination of both. Again, when you do an RFP, there might be carriers out there that would underbid just to get our business, and we may be faced with some disruption that we would not otherwise have. The rates that we did get from HealthPartners when we did the formal RFP 3 years ago held pretty steady in terms of those percentage increases in terms of what the market has been showing for administrative fees, and coupled with the fact that they are again willing to not even increase for year 5, I don't think we would come up with a better proposal. And that would be more of my professional opinion. But having done these RFPs for many years, again, knowing that we selected our HealthPartners 3 years ago based on the value of their proposal then, and knowing they're holding firm to what we thought was satisfactory and advantageous 3 years ago, I feel confident that that's the best value to the council.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Appreciate it.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Terry. Any other questions? So I have one, Terry, just so assuming that we move forward with this, it would then expire in December of 2024. And we would then have to go out for an RFP ahead of that so that we'd know where we were at. And how long do you go out ahead of the expiration date so that you get everything you need and have the time you need ahead of then putting together a new contract moving forward after expiration?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Great question, and that's why I was talking about the timing. We literally need to be kind of issuing an RFP no later than, I would say, February of the year in which the contract expires. This particular contract is full of complexities, and we definitely partner with our benefits consulting company, Aon. But it can take some serious actuarial analysis and review of the panel members. And then we need lead time once this council would approve whatever carrier we select. We have to be at least 3 months before the end of the year in case it's a different carrier. And then my benefits team has to do all the implementation with our benefit online enrollment system, as you can imagine, all the file sharing, all the administrative pieces that go together to make the start of the new year seamless. So we would plan to be out there pretty early in the year.
Okay, great. So that's just a year from now, less than a year from now already. And when you bring that forward, it'll be interesting to see what the market is doing at that time. and how we fall into that with our own experience ratings and everything going on. So, well, this is a lot of good work. Again, anything else the committee wants to ask? All right, again, seeing none, again, I'll just repeat the proposed action is that the Metropolitan Council authorize the regional administrator to execute an amendment for contract 19P02, P020 with Health Partners that will extend the contract term for medical claims administration, retiree Medicare supplement plans, and wellness programming in an amount not to exceed $25 million for a total contract value not to exceed the amount of $71,617,500, which is the 5-year limit. Is there a motion?
Now, move by Gonzalez.
Councilmember Gonzalez, is there a second?
Second by Barber.
Seconded by Barber. Again, any discussion? Comments? Seeing none, then roll call, please, Lori.
Barber.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Lilligren.
Aye.
Musse.
Aye.
Johnson.
And aye. And again, that passes unanimously. So great work. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the upcoming year and onward. So thank you. So there is no other business to come before us tonight, and no information items, anything like that. So everybody gets a little more time back in your day, and then we will see you at the council meeting at 4. And without objection, this meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Great efficiency in government there.
Yeah, here we go, right?